Hey guys, Ivan here, and you're looking at Sandoe's physique, 3 weeks out of Mr. Olympia, standing there just chilling at 270 freaking pounds. 270 pounds. He's a freak. He's one of the freaks, right? He's one of the biggest guys up there right now. And look, the size is not his problem. It never was. He's a huge guy. He's a beast. He's so thick, so much muscle on him. He's not super tall by any means. He's pretty short. Surprisingly short, actually. When you look at him standing on his own or even on stage, he looks a little bit taller than he actually is, but he's actually very short. And for his frame, he packs a lot of muscle. So he's definitely a beast, he's huge. If we're gonna say that one muscle could be a little bit bigger, that would be his quads. From the side, not so much, but from the front, yeah. And they do look improved. Maybe it's the angle, maybe it's the pump in the quads, but they do look bigger to me. I don't know if you can notice it. From the side, it never really was a problem. It always looked good from the side, his legs, but from the front, they could be a little bit bigger. So as I said, the size is not really the problem. Look at his chest and arms and back and everything. He's just so thick as a brick, as I said a million times. But the thing about his physique is, the problematic part would be conditioning. So it's all about bringing that conditioning if he wants to place well at the Mr. Olympia. So depending on his conditioning, he can be top 10 or top 6. Now, as I said, size, not a problem at all. Look at his back lat spread. How much thickness is there on his back? He is as wide from the sides as he is from the front. Just a lot of muscle packed on his frame. This pose though could do some work. He's not looking balanced, he's not looking symmetrical here. He's always kind of tilting on one side when he's doing back double bicep. I'm sure that's how his muscles are shaped. I'm sure that's not just a problem with posing. I'm sure this is the best way that he can pull it right now. I don't know if he can work on this, but if he can improve this balance, it would really mean a lot, because back double bicep is one of the most important poses and it's not one of the best of his. Reason being is not the mass, but just this balance. As you can see, his left side is tilted downwards and his right arm is a little bit upwards and he's just bent on one side. So it looks like he's barely even able to hold the pose, but I guess it's not really about hitting the pose right. It's probably about the way his structure is genetically. So those were his most recent physique updates from 3 weeks out, but if you want my opinion on how he will do at the Mr. Olympia as far as placings, I think he will be probably in top 10. So if he comes peeled like he was at the Arnold, he can grab the top 6, but I don't really see that happening. I think other guys will edge him out, they will all be much sharper than him. A lot of them, not all of them, so I think Luke will not crack the top 6. I think he will be like 8th, 9th, maybe 10th place, but we'll see. That's just my opinion. He can just come peeled, as I've said. If he does that, he can be top 6. I think that's the best that he can get. But based on his previous performance, I don't think that will happen, because he's not a consistent bodybuilder. He was only conditioned once in his life. At the Arnold, he was well conditioned. At this Tampa Pro, he was good, he was fine, but he could have been a little bit sharper. As you can see him here compared to Dexter, who is 50 years old, you can see that he could have been a little bit better, a little bit sharper. So if he doesn't bring the conditioning, top 10, if he comes sharp, top 6. Now the next thing that I want to talk about is Rock actually posting something related to bodybuilding. So it's not exactly bodybuilding, it's women's physique, but you guys know that new Rock show is coming up, and Rock still didn't post anything about it. He did not announce it officially, but right now he posted this video of his ex-wife. Her name is Dani Garcia. She is an IBB pro in women's physique. She's talking about how she had to skip Tampa Pro, how she's gonna compete and this and that. It doesn't really matter, you can watch the video if you want, but basically he's posting something about bodybuilding. Also, Dani Garcia, this woman right here, Rock's ex-wife, is the founder and the CEO of the 7 Bucks production that is actually founded by The Rock and his ex-wife, this woman right here, Dani Garcia. So that's another reason why he's posting it, and that would be the company that will probably be involved in bodybuilding exactly. So right here she's talking about how bodybuilding started, this and that. You can watch the video. It's not really much, but it is Rock. making some kind of post about bodybuilding. But I'm sure in the future we're gonna have many more updates, and I will update you guys as soon as I get anything. And okay, maybe I don't have much about Rock, but I do have something about these other guys that will actually compete at the Mr. Olympia. One of them being right here, Juan Morrel. And from the sides, this guy looks like he can win the Mr. Olympia, right? But from the front and from the back, you can really see the size in his quads that he is lacking. So that's his biggest weakness, the size of his quads, the shape of them as well, the outer sweep being almost non-existent. Also the inner part, I mean, it's not much bigger, so he's very full, he's very conditioned, always has that paper-thin skin, crazy vascularity, overall great bodybuilder, always on, always full and shredded and everything, I mean, spot on, just crazy genetics for bodybuilding, very strong as well, but quads really not there. You cannot really see it from this angle, but you can Google it if you don't know how he looks like, but I'm sure you do. I'm sure most of you do. Anyways, still, even with those kind of legs, in my opinion, he can crack the top 6. He can crack the top 6 at the Mr. Olympia. I made a post about this before, and I'm saying it again. So he will be spot on, I'm sure. If these other guys, like Lukas Sandoe, miss the mark, don't come perfectly peeled, he will be the one to push them out of that top 6, and he may very well crack it. That top 4 though is kind of reserved for Brandon Curry, William Bonac, Rolly Winkler, Dexter Jackson most likely, but from the 5th place down, anybody can be any place pretty much, and one of those guys that can be top 5, top 6 would be this man right here, Steve Cuclo, who is getting ready for the Mr. Olympia, and he is definitely looking on point. He's very vascular. Now, he is one of those guys who is sometimes well conditioned, sometimes isn't. So at this Indie Pro, he was very well conditioned and he won the goddamn thing. Now, this year, the Mr. Olympia, he knows, just like anybody else does, that the door is wide open. I mean, not really the door to winning the Sandoe, no, but the door to cracking the top 5, top 6. If he cracks the top 5, he's automatically qualified for the next year's Mr. Olympia, and all he needs to do is progress and get better for next year. So I'm sure all these guys will push the envelope harder, just a little bit harder, so they can actually crack the top 5, which would make their next year a whole lot easier. And that is why I think we're gonna have a great Mr. Olympia lineup, because these guys are not really top-notch genetics like they were a couple of years ago when we had, Phil Heath, Kai Green, Dennis Wolf, Sean Roden. Those guys are out of the lineup. They have a little bit less impressive lineup, but these guys will push it hard, very hard, because anything is possible. And in my opinion, I think Steve Cuclo has better chances to take that 5th or 6th spot than Lukas Sandoe. I think he will be better than Luke, yeah. Because, Luke has the potential to beat Steve, but that's just the potential. Nobody really knows how conditioned will he be. But Steve Cuclo, I think he will be well conditioned, I think he will be full and everything, and I think he will be probably in the top 6, top 7, something like that, but very good jump compared to last year where he took 10th place. At that very same Indie Pro, this guy right here was 3rd spot, and unfortunately we're not gonna see Hassan Mostafa at the Mr. Olympia stage. In my opinion, the best quads in the world right now, one of the biggest quads in the history of bodybuilding. This guy just turned pro last year. This year he had a couple of pro shows done. He had his pro debut first at the Indie Pro. It was his pro debut and he beat Lukas Sandoe, for example. This guy is a huge potential, and mark my words, guys, remember, this guy will be in the top 6 in a couple of years and will be battling for that top spot. He will be something like William Bonac probably. He doesn't have the best structure, so I don't really see him winning the Mr. Olympia, but you cannot deny the thickness, the density that he has, and it will definitely be enough, and conditioning as well. He can get very well conditioned and looks matured, and they will not be able to deny him, and he will probably be, top 3 or something like that at Mr. Olympia. However, that's not gonna happen this year. This year we're gonna see guys like Lukas Osladil right here, and he's gonna be at the Mr. Olympia stage. He can surprise us all. He doesn't have the best structure. He has a horrible structure, as a matter of fact, but he gets dry always. He's always in great conditioning. He has a lot of muscle. His posing is weird. It's strange. The structure is also weird and strange, but you cannot deny that the conditioning and the thickness of the muscle, the density that he has, the maturity as well. On this photo right here, I mean these two photos, he even moved his head on the left one and the quality is horrible. But this guy is from Eastern Europe, and only a couple of years ago we started having phones with cameras. You guys asking me to make a video about myself, but my phone doesn't have a camera. Almost nobody here does. Just joking, just joking with you guys. I hope you find this joke funny. I'm just messing with you. Don't get mad. Let's go with the next thing. The next thing would be Rafael Brandao, the Brazilian guy, and you guys know he's very aesthetic for an open class bodybuilder, and this is him guest posing right here, hopefully making improvements, hopefully getting bigger and not smaller. Hopefully he's not gonna move to classic physique, where he would do well, but he has the potential to be a great open class bodybuilder, although he would have to add a lot more mass, which is probably what he's doing currently in his off season, and he's looking big at this guest posing right here. Hey, let's do some talk about classic physique. I mean, what kind of bodybuilding video would it be without any mention of classic physique? So David Hoffman right here, the Hoff, as you guys call him. I mean, he is a fan favorite. A lot of people love this guy. You're telling me to make a video about him, and to be honest with you guys, I know a lot of you are big fans of him, and I'm gonna probably make you mad because I'm gonna say that I don't really like his physique. And I'm sorry guys, I know you're huge fans, but please hear me out. His quads are not very good, very full. His waist is also a little bit bigger. The shape of his arms and forearms and overall aesthetics are just not spot on for classic. And he said it himself that the reason he's doing classic is because open is too hard on him. And I appreciate the honesty, but when I hear something like that, it really throws me away. I mean, he doesn't really believe in classical lines, whatever that is. He's not all about golden era bodybuilding, and that's not the reason why he's doing classic. He's doing it simply because he wants to make it easier for him to be quote-unquote a weekend warrior, as Phil Heath said. It's not a great thing to say if you want to be a representative of the division, but he did say it, and based on this photo right here, you can see that he's getting very lean, and he's known for his conditioning, and classical lines don't really have much to do with the classic physique, so being this well conditioned, I think he will do great. I think he has a legitimate chance to crack the top 6, depending on how other guys look, but probably not because of his structure. I think like top 8 would be the best case scenario for him. So once again, if other guys come off, he can crack a top 6. That's like too much. But I think the other guys will be good enough to push him out of that top 6, top 7, probably even top 8. I don't know, maybe top 10 for David Hoffman, in my opinion. Whatever you guys think, tell me down below. Let's argue a little. Sure, fine. I mean, tell me whatever you want. Dislike the video. I don't care. I just want to interact with you. So tell me what you think. And let's finish off with another classic physique guy who honestly looks more like an open class bodybuilder from the sheer muscularity standpoint. And yeah, that's Henri Pier. He competed at the bodybuilding show earlier this year and he took 6th place. It was Portugal Pro. Now he's competing in a classic physique. He's gonna have to downsize a little. He cannot compete like this. He's huge right here, and I'm sure he will do well. Last year he was 4th. This year probably the same thing, something around that spot. So he's a very, very good bodybuilder. Pretty classic as well. I mean, he has those long muscle bellies. He's tall. He has pretty small waist. Not super small waist, a little bit bloated stomach, but very good classic lines still. I mean, great bodybuilder overall. He's probably gonna crack the top 4 again. I think so. Anyways, guys, whatever you think about this whole video, whatever you want to talk about, tell me down below. I'll make sure to read all the comments, no doubt about that. I'm just gonna reply to some of them, the ones that I find interesting. So once again, guys, thank you very much for all the support, for following me, for watching the videos. If you enjoyed this one, make sure to like it. If you want to see more videos like this, do not forget to subscribe. All the best, guys. Bye bye.